MSI.
Same, and it's very exciting because we are going to get the first taste of this new meta. We've had so many new patches that have come through since the end of regional finals across the world. And to start things off right away, there's a pretty big shared champion pool between Keria and Taki, and two of those very common champions we see right now, Blind, the Leona and Nautilus, are taken off the board right away. Zeus's Jace also taken away right off the bat here, so a lot of research definitely going into this one here for Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, and we were talking about some of the shared champion pools, also Froggy playing a bunch of Ahri, Faker obviously very well known for playing that in recent times as well. Also take a look at the Caitlyn ban there for the bottom lane, so we're very curious about what the AD carry meta is going to be, but I think that Gumayusi still will command that respect on that champion.
And I think Jat said it best on the desk earlier, is if you have a strong expectation for what the meta will be, you're probably going to be wrong at this stage, because we simply just do not have enough information, and I think the teams themselves haven't settled down yet what is going to be the top picks. But we're leaving Twisted Fate open against Faker in a team that's very famous for their early game macro and control of first Rift Herald into taking down towers early. Very powerful pick that works with so many different types of compositions, so it's no surprise to see Faker pick that one up very early here.
Yeah, and take a look at this. Some small buffs going over to Tristana, especially for her late game scaling. Looks like that will be the choice here. So Shogun gonna get his hands onto this Tristana very early on. And you were talking about, banning away T1. It's rough, man. It's never easy. You got to choose one. They let that go. And take a look at this. Wukong just straight up coming out here.
Yeah, Wukong blind as well here very early on in this draft. In the LCK region, we almost never see this champion. It's been called for quite a bit. Nami picked up very early here, usually paired with the Lucian. Of course, Lucian's still open, so that could be a pick here to try to dominate the early laning phase, where Gumayusi and Keria, Gumayusi if you want to put their names together, have had the most dominant 2v2s in the LCK out of any bottom duo. And that's, of course, with players like Ruler in our region, of course. And you give them control of that bottom lane early, they get an early lead, and things can be disastrous with the prio they're going to gain.
We are going to see Silas coming out here. Pretty common response to the TF. Just want to make sure you have some globals yourself. You take away that Destiny Gate, and you're getting around the map yourself as well. Can put on some pressure in the lane. Not going to go for the Galio, another response that we do see, even the Rise as well. But again, the meta's shifting. We're here on 12.8, and things will look different.
Yeah, I really like this Rakan ban as well for the Lucian Nami lane. Definitely things can go awry when you're trying to put that pressure on with Rakan in those 2v2s. And the Viego ban here is a very owner-specific ban, especially considering that you have CC set up already in the mid lane with the Twisted Fate. So that's what we've seen Owner and Faker rely on, whether it's the Ahri pick into the Viego or the Twisted Fate into the Viego. Very strong combo. Then Owner's most favorite and most common pick of the LCK season, the Lee Sin, is also taken away.
Yeah, we do see the Rel as the final ban there on blue side, and now we're hovering the Zyra. Not sure about that. Maybe just going back to the olden times of League of Legends, just throw a classic Tristana Alistar into their face. Definitely something you can do. Alistar, not great early on, at level 1 specifically. Might get poked out a little bit, but looking for those combos to potentially take away some power from the Lucian Nami.
The Gwen pick here, despite some nerfs and changes, still going to be a very common one here from the LCK region. Gumayusi going to pick this one up, and it's great for those early skirmishes and brawls, so not surprised to see this at all. And Vi! My favorite arcane champion, I know what everyone's spamming in the chat, but yeah, very exciting to see this one. We did see this actually played in our region. Not successfully, but it is not the first time we've seen this, and it is very strong with the kind of skirmishing that T1 is looking for to control this early game, snowball this lead that they're looking to grab in the first 14 minutes.
Yeah, and we are going to see Kennen. Yeah, the Kennen comes out here, and it's going to be pretty nice in that lane against the Gwen. Just has the range advantage, and they did go down to Gambit in the finals over there in the VCS, but this is one of the champions that he looked really good on.
So, yeah, Hazmed's Kennen is definitely, it's not his most played from playoffs, but it's his most iconic champion in my reviews of VODs from him, and he's very good at setting up team fights this way. As was mentioned earlier on the desk, both of these teams extremely bloody in their play style, love to be aggressive early, And I do think this game will very likely be decided in the first 15 minutes and possibly even decided by the first Rift Herald fight, especially when you consider how Feast or Famine T1's composition is going to be. Yes, they do have some insurances with Gwen in late game team fights, but if you get to a late game where you are not stomping with this composition, you are going to find yourself falling very far behind.
Yeah, it's a very T1-esque kind of composition. Maybe not something we've seen a lot, but definitely plays to their play style. They love to get in your face very confidently, take away the kill, and then take away the game very early on. If you guys, you're used to watching the LCK, you think, some of these teams are a little bit more laid back. I think T1, I'm not sure what got into them. They're just so confident and incredible in their mechanics to the point where it's like taking candy away from a baby at times.
It really is, and it's unfortunate that Saigon Buffalo has such a tall task in their first time returning as a region here for the VCS. It's been nearly 3 years, as was mentioned earlier, since the Vietnamese region has actually been able to play on the international stage, and they're playing against a 20-0 win streak T1 here. So very David and Goliath-esque here, the matchup we are watching. But as was mentioned, if Saigon Buffalo can get an early lead or at least stave off T1's early pressure, there's a lot of great potential team fighting later on. And it is crazy that we are seeing Wukong this early in the tournament. As, hey guys, we're actually here at the LEC studio. It's really awesome to be here.
Yeah, first time, I think, for both of us, right?
Yeah.
Here at the Berlin, the LEC studio, just awesome to be involved. And, of course, we did fly here from Korea, but love to be part of the team that is over here at the LEC studio, and we will be covering the games from here. But, yeah, I'm just really excited to get into this one. And as you mentioned, David and Goliath, it's pretty apparent to everybody watching this that T1 definitely one of the favorites for the tournament, but I'm excited to see what Saigon Buffalo can show us tonight.
All right, 2v2 here, set up in the bottom lane. You can see hiding in the brush. Respect being shown from Taki and Shogun that they could be in there. It's Alistair level 1, so definitely don't want to walk into this. Oh. Going for the splash.
Okay, he's going on in there. Immediate exhaust, but with the E leveled up here from Tristana. That's going to be one more auto, and Gumayusi goes down. Shogun and Taki take it to them. Keria with the Ignite. He will flash in and take away the kill onto Shogun. So much action already in the bottom side, and Keria will be able to walk this one out.
It's so extremely important that Keria is actually able to take Shogun out here, because if he stays in the lane, gets a massive level lead here, is able to take that CS advantage, this 2v2 lane becomes so incredibly difficult to play. But such an incredible heads-up play here from Taki, going for the flash early, gets the knock up there, expecting T1 is in the brush, and T1 were just simply not ready for it. So you can see this here, sweepers out, and it's very clear to both these teams, there's a very high chance they're in there. Taki just goes straight up for the flash knock-up here. As soon as he sees them, gets the double knock-up, and you can't compete against this damage this early on with the Tristana.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This is why this duo has been around in League of Legends forever. It's that you get the CC, and Tristana has an insane amount of burst early on. And,
made it a reflex game here, I mean, really.
Yeah, absolutely, as we're going to see some trading here in top and mid. Haven't taken too much of a look at these two lanes just yet, but as you can see, Froggy already putting on some pressure on the Faker here in the mid lane. And, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, guys like Froggy coming on over here, as we will have another combo here, but Taki getting a little bit chunked out.
Yeah, notice how differently things go when Taki's not getting a double knock-up, right, in a fight like this, with Lucian being able to kind of poke and do that consistent damage, with Nami, of course, being ranged as well. It's a little bit tougher to actually continue to put that pressure on here in this 2v2. Owner nearby as well. Need to be so careful. And I think there's a lot of underestimating that people are doing of the VCS region right now, because we haven't seen them in international tournaments. Their first opponent is T1. What we've already seen, though, small gold lead here with that first blood. Saigon Buffalo came to play early, and this is their playstyle. They are aggressive. They take extremely high risks early. And against T1, especially against T1's comp, I think you do have to play that way. Now, around the first Rift Herald, that's the kind of risky play we'll see if Saigon Buffalo commits to, because that's where T1's comp is going to start to really come online. And if they get that first Rift Herald, a gold lead is how T1 snowballs this game. So that might be where Saigon Buffalo might want to pump the brakes a little bit.
Okay, a little bit of action up in the top side. BeamJ looking for a bit of a dive here, but Gwen is immune immediately. BeamJ is taking all the turret shots and nearly gets taken out. Zeus is taken pretty low here and might have to back off the wave.
Yeah, he will get away here. Notice Owner coming up as well to protect if there was going to be a follow-up here. Flash, of course, having to be burned here for BJ with the failed dive, quote-unquote. It will, of course, force Zeus to back, but he has teleport. Meanwhile...
Oh, here we go. Guma a little bit too far up, but they're trying to trade it back, but the extra jump comes in for Shogun, and this is just going to be a double kill on the bottom side as the Saigon Buffalo duo are taking out T1.
3 kills early for Shogun. This is the Lucian Nami lane getting destroyed right now, and it's Gumayusa Carrier that are getting destroyed in this 2v2. And once again, it's Taki on the heads-up play here, as we'll see how this one started off. We came in a little bit late on the fight. Just going to be headbutt in. Shogun collapses, and Gumayusa's positioning here way too greedy. You see Carrier tries to Aqua Prison to stave off the pressure, but it's just too much damage too fast for Tristana at these early levels. And this is going to get much worse before it gets better.
Yeah, and it's a couple of things, you know. He really wanted that cannon. It's the first game of the tournament. Gumayusa is on a low-range AD carry. He's like, oh man, I'd really love that cannon. But he got punished for it. As you mentioned, the Aqua Prison missing Tristana means that, yeah, he just gets taken out. So, you know, this is a duo that we have been touting in the LCK as obviously the best in the LCK, but also we've been talking about how great they are around the world as well, and now they're just getting shown up very early on in this first game.
Yeah, and it's important to remember the context of what Lucian Nami is supposed to do in a 2v2 is to get kind of guaranteed prio and give you control over early objectives. It's a very strong duo because of Nami's passive, and Froggy has level 6. Not going to be useful in this matchup, of course, though, to duel. But going back to the point, the fact that Tristana is this far ahead, has 3 kills early, means that now Saigon Buffalo are going to feel very comfortable to actually try to commit to that Rift Herald fight. You know, bring their AD carry over, not going to be looking to trade plates. And T1's comp is going to struggle in the later parts if they can't get a tempo lead. And it's so difficult when your 2v2 on the bottom side has gone this far awry.
Yeah, so Owner is down here. He's not level 6, but neither is BJ, who is hanging around the area. This first Drake, being a Hextech Drake, can be pretty nice to pick up early. T1 not necessarily a team that like to collapse on the early Drakes and really make a move on it. They love to get the early Rift Heralds, as they'll have to hold that thought. We are engaging on the Owner here, but Taki and BJ will pump the brakes and just get out of here.
Yeah, so... Again, you know, we haven't seen the power of Shogun's gold just yet because he's still sitting, of course, on that Noon Quiver. And, you know, this is going to really explode and balloon very soon, but we haven't quite gotten there just yet. So Gumayusa and Carry, you can see they are essentially functionally doing what this Lucian Nami lane is supposed to do despite the 3 kills here for Shogun at the moment. But as that Rift Herald does start to spawn, it's going to be a very strong moment for Saigon Buffalo because Tristana does have this extra gold. They do have a Kennen who has Flash and ult available. We haven't really visited the top side of the map that much this game, but the fact that they can look for that scrappy team fight with the Sylas here as well, which is such a common response to Twisted Fate, is meaning that Saigon Buffalo can take an early lead.
Here we go. This is the Destiny Gate stolen, and Guma is up the river, and he actually does have a pretty nice gap, so... a great instinctual response, I would say, here from Guma to go the correct way and escape any death.
Yeah, it was not going to stick around to try to clear that control ward. It's going to leave here right away. But the Skivs, of course, again, showing a lot of control here of the bottom side. Not quite able to take this plate out just yet. But Rift Herald is spawning. Shogun, he's going to have the fast track over there. Remember, this is a Kennen that has Slicing Maelstrom, one of the strongest ultimates in the game on Rift Herald fights. But the pressure in this lane means he can't really get there.
Take note that Faker has Ignite from the Unsealed Spellbook, also has the ultimate advantage right now, as it's going to be big for T1 to try to get the advantage around this top side. And you see that BJ and Hazmet, they will be called off. They're not going to try to collapse onto Zeus or anything like that. So Faker just, his presence is felt for sure.
Yeah, and this is so unusual for T1 to actually not be grouping for a Rift Herald this early as well. Like, T1 is the team that would fight for Rift Herald no matter what in our region for so long, regardless of circumstances, and see it ignored this early. So unusual. This time,
the bubble comes in, and Shogun, this time he goes down as Froggy now gets pretty low. Looks like there wasn't enough vision around the mid lane, as we will have him going down here, and you can hear the fans, they're allowed to cheer out now. It is awesome to hear that they are ready to go and cheer for T1 here at MSI.
Yeah. Okay, Taki once again for the engage.
Okay, going on in here, but you can see that Shogun not really confident to get on in this one, and he will just get burst down. It gets a little bit too close to the sun and trying to force it there with Saigon Buffalo. Here comes BJ with the flash coming in. The immediate exhaust and the damage that comes out of Lucian. Nami might be enough, but not quite, as BJ will be able to take him out at the end and at least trade one back.
You could tell there was a little bit of miscommunication there for Saigon Buffaloes. Of course, the Rift Herald is taken topside while this is happening. With that engage there from Taki, because Shogun doesn't go in, BJ is nearby with blue buff half taken. So he's in the vicinity. It looks like the idea is to look for that gank a little bit earlier, to look for that 2v2 kill there. But actually, unfortunately, with a really nice reaction there from Keria and the exhaust from Guma, they can't make anything happen here on the play. He does, of course, rotate down, but at the cost of this early Rift Herald that T1 have now picked up. They've actually taken a gold lead, and a lot of the wind is now out of the sails here for Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, we'll take another look here at this mid play. Looks like Froggy, you know, he's been aggressive the entire time, and this time Owner is here to punish him.
Yeah. Really easy kill here. This is the play I'm talking about. Notice BJ is on blue buff right now. So Taki decides to go in here. Shogun is a little bit timid on it. There's a wave crashing in. And see the zoom out here. BJ is nowhere really near the vicinity. And it's a really nice turn here from Keria. Really easy clip. Now he does come down, of course, and pick up the kills. Once again, gonna go in.
Oh, and here's Owner once again. Taki, no unbreakable will this time around, and he will take his first death of the contest.
Yeah, and look, Taki, I think, starting to feel the nerves a little bit here. Had success early, you know, has himself 4 assists in the first 10 minutes of the game, and is trying to play around this Kraken Slayer, but, you know, plays like this, really costly timing, because now the Rift Herald is going to take this entire turret. It's going to be full set of plates here for T1's bot duo.
Yeah. And this is typical T1. You know, they will go even with you. They might take an early lead, but they will get the Rift Heralds either for free or for not, and then they will just take your turret by, you know, 11, 12 minutes. Get all the plates, Gumayusi gets super fed, and they love to close out games from there. At least Saigon Buffalo, with all the pressure on the bottom side of the map, they will be able to take this Hex Tech Drake, but just a bit of a consolation prize at this point. You'll note that this is the first Drake of the contest, so we're not really getting too close to the soul or anything like that for Saigon Buffalo.
You'll notice also a plate is taken here in the mid lane as well. Faker's able to pick that one up because they needed all that extra pressure, that prio that was brought towards this Drake while losing a turret. So they're able to stop the turret from going down, that last plate from going down. They get a Drake, and they still lose a plate in the mid lane. T1 is going to find gold everywhere on the map when they have an edge like this and that Rift Herald power. This is, as you said, what they're so famous for in the LCK. The late game team fighting is great too, but they usually go to that late game with a massive gold lead.
Yeah, and you can see, you know, we haven't seen too much of the early top side of the map either, just because there has been so much action on the bottom side, as that's not really going to hit Taki, but a very scary wave will push him away, and it does mean that T1 will take all of this vision. But yeah, I mean, after that early dive on the top side, didn't really get the kill onto Zeus. He has been just holding strong, going even, and taking some plates himself.
Yeah. If that tidal wave hits, it's you know, definitely a kill there. So I respect the attempt here from the Nami, in this case Keria, looking for it. As T1 is going to clear up a lot of the vision that was set up here. Saigon Buffalo really committing. I think 3 control wards were dropped here in the river, and they are clearing it all up now. T1 have full vision control so that Gumayusi can continue to push aggressively to try to grab that last plate in the last minute and a half.
Okay, Froggy space checking a little bit here, did not have vision, and now he is just trying to tank it up, but unfortunately Destiny Gate comes in, big 2-on-2 on the bottom side again, and this time Shogun and Taki will get their revenge. Another double kill into this Tristana. At least they're getting some wins down there now.
Yeah. And it's, you know, starting to really become a ballooning problem that T1 are going to have to deal with. This Tristana, who's, you know, on this patch and has subsequently been buffed and is going to be stronger in late game scaling situations against a Lucian that, you know, is very low range. It is going to be very difficult to team fight with later on. Going to pick up some extra gold here. Complete control now. This pendulum swings back to Saigon Buffalo in the bottom lane. At the cost of mid plates, of course, here.
This might be a race for first turret blood, as we do see Owner and Faker really trying to take this one down. But I think that Taki, or rather Shogun and BJ, should get the win, and they will. The first turret blood will go the way of Saigon Buffalo as a stolen by ultimate, as in goes Froggy extremely aggressively just to try to save this turret. And he will, as here comes Hosmet. He's got the angle onto Faker, as Faker will get comboed, and he's trying to get CC'd 100-0, and now with 4 members of the Buffaloes. He will be taken down.
I cannot overstate, I think, the lack of respect that T1 has shown, actually, in this game in several moments where they're looking to trade objectives. They lose the race, of course, because it's a Twisted Fate hitting a turret, right, versus Tristana on the bottom side. You're not going to win that race. You're overextended where you don't have control of top side. If Hazmed is just a little bit faster, flash slicing Maelstroms, that could be 3 kills picked up there for Saigon Buffalo. And T1 just a little bit too aggressive here, are pushed off, unable to get that bottom turret, unable to get that mid turret. And we're looking at a world, and I know T1 still have a gold lead, fans at home, but it's 400 gold. And it's T1 against the VCS's second team, right? Not even their #1 team. A much closer game than we expected.
Okay, we're going to have culling against culling, but Kingslayer's not going to help him survive as Froggy, once again, it seems like just a little bit out of position, and that will be his 3rd death here. T1 definitely taking advantage of that mid lane a bit here.
Yeah, Gale Force here versus no Mythic available for Froggy as well. You can see the item differences here really coming into play. That extra execute damage for Guma is going to allow him to get this kill. And this is a scrappy game. This is what we expected to see from these two teams. It's just action non-stop. Yes, Froggy is 10 to the level 8 here, but Guma gets the jump on him, does his combo here, gets the passive to proc maximum amount of times, has the Gale Force damage coming through, just knows his champion, knows his opponent's limits very well here, and pulls off the kill.
Yeah, pretty nice stuff. I think we are going to slow this one down a little bit before we do get into this Cloud Drake that is coming up just next in a minute. As you see that both the bottom lanes have now moved into the mid lane. Perhaps Guma and Keria will feel a bit safer to not get comboed as they have been multiple times on the bottom side. Taki is positioning very aggressively, goes into the Unbreakable Will and just gets blown up just like that. Not able to survive on the Alistar.
And I think a big part of this play is the fact that the top side is controlled so heavily. Hazmed doesn't have a place to teleport to. He's not free enough to actually try to make something happen. Beanjay was on the flank, as you guys were showing, or observers were showing rather, that he could have come in there to try to set up a play there with Taki, but he was just a little bit too far away, and he's trying to control an objective that hasn't yet spawned. Meanwhile, Owner gets Rift Herald. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's a big win for T1.
Zeus has been stalked through the jungle, and now he's got to go 1v2 in his Shroud, as now the Gwen ultimate is stolen. The damage not quite there. Zeus will survive as Keria gets there just barely on time, and BJ is going to get ignited down by Keria, who will pick up the kill, and now Owner is looking for a little bit more.
Meanwhile, topside Faker survives there. Hazmed even commits the flash, is unable to kill him.
And Shogun is just dead here, does not have another jump. That is going to be a killing spree now for Owner, who casually picks up the Vine and is now 3-0 in the first game of MSI.
What do you think about the Nami impact in professional play in recent times? Of course, we've seen Nami years ago in many different other matchups, but in professional play, it's usually just for controlling the 2v2 in the laning phase, but how Keria has been able to use his ultimate as a peeling tool in so many of these scenarios on the bottom side has been fantastic and has really punished some overextensions from Saigon Buffalo. This means second Drake is picked up here for T1. Rift Herald still in Owner's hands, and T1's experience here and I think patience is paying off.
Not again, Taki. Okay, he is going to get out alive here with this one, as Culling will be stolen by Froggy, but yeah, Guma has a Nami behind him, so he will be totally fine. As, yeah, you know, you were talking a little bit about nerves. I think that the positioning may be a little bit more to be wanted for Taki, I would say. He's maybe not respecting the Destiny Gate, and T1, they're a ferocious team, right?
Yeah,
if you're out of position, they will take you down.
This is the expectation for if T1 got ahead earlier on in this game with the comp that should have been ahead, where they would be. You know, pushing this far to the jungle as Tidal Wave's going to come out.
Yeah, not going to hit him, as we do have second Rift Herald coming in, but this is a huge teleport flank coming in now from Hazmed, but he's all alone. He is going to be forced into this one early on. The slicing Maelstrom only hits Owner, as okay, Owner is actually going to go down. Faker tries to get the kill onto Kennen, but it's not going to quite work out. But Zeus is now frontlining, and he's got a bunch of needles. He's just trying to chip through that front line here. So many low health bars on the side of Saigon Buffalo, but nobody has gone down yet, as they do not have vision of this brush rather, as Hazmed will give up his life. Everybody else is on the run, as Froggy is just gonna get executed, and T1 will take the fight eventually. As, yeah, it's just gonna be the bubble coming in. Keria will pick up the kill, a very bloodthirsty support in his own right.
He's got his Imperial Mandate going on. He's very happy to pick up extra kills here, and this is a nice attempt here from Hazmed to try to look for the teleport flank. But notice the items here for the Kenneth at this point. You know, it's not like he's sitting on a Void Staff here. He did, of course, go for the Rocket Belt, so not like it's Night Harvester Cannon, which we have seen a few times. If he has a little bit more itemization, that flank actually might end up doing enough damage to win that fight for Saigon Buffalo. But even after the initial pick, the health bars are so low, the Tristana is so extremely low, you just can't front to back that, even with the range advantage and the concave they had outside of the choke. So look at Hazmed here on the flank. He doesn't quite have enough damage to actually out-duel here, and he's just immediately Aqua Prisoned by Keria. He can't close the gap to hit the rest of T1. Notice Gumius is still at full health here at the end of this fight. If he's able to close the gap, if he's not Aqua Prisoned, if he has more items, this teleport flank works out in a lot of different scenarios, but not in this one. And now at this point, your health bars are so low, you can't win this despite having control of the exit for the choke.
It's very important that T1 identify the teleport flank was coming in and they position perfectly for it, right? You send your jungler in first, you deny the Kennen the entry, and everybody else just spreads out and runs away, and you will be totally safe. As that's a pretty funny kill at the end there for Keria. As now we do have a nice little lead here for T1, about 4,000 gold as we hit the 20-minute mark. The Baron has spawned. And here we go. We do have some poking coming out here, trying to force that Unbreakable Will. It will actually be forced. Skooma will get that out of Taki.
Yeah, a group up here in the jungle on the top side. A lot of vision placed here for T1. They're going to look for a basically spawning Baron at 2015. And Saigon Buffalo suss this out. They're going to rotate over. Buy ultimate available here for Froggy. T1 might have bitten off more than they can chew here. They're going to try to turn.
They're looking for the turn, and Taki is just blown up immediately. He does use that lock-in, but that's about all he's got here. As T1, they knew this was coming. They knew they were spotted, and they knew that they would eventually take down the Baron, if not yet right away.
And notice the one champion who's left standing here, the one who could have actually looked for a team fight against T1. T1 knew Hazmed had ultimate, but wasn't nearby. You have a Slicing Maelstrom in this team fight, it can look completely different, but T1 very aware of where he is on the map. The tidal wave turn again from Keria is fantastic. And T1 used this Baron to force a team fight Saigon Buffalo didn't want to take.
Not sure what's going on here. Faker with red buff just says, I've got exhaust as well because I have unsealed spellbook, and yeah, I think I'll just take the kill. Thank you very much.
And this is now Hazmed with no Slicing Maelstrom for the upcoming Drake. If Saigon Buffalo were going to look to contest that one, they don't have control over it, but that's just another tool now missing. Hazmed was trying to win that 1v1, which I think was a bit optimistic here. Notice the tidal wave from Keria. They force Saigon Buffalo into this choke point. Notice Keria's positioning on the right side here, as we're already in another fight.
Okay, well, Saigon, they try to get something going here. They have a teleport coming in, and Owner will respect it. He will actually flash away. Immediately goes back in as they notice the sad Wukong all alone. And this is just the dominoes falling one by one. Taki eventually going to be dead meat as well, as he will go down 3 more kills for T1 as they push with the Baron buff.
The Red Bull Baron power play is going to be pretty stacked for this one, Valdez. We're already at 4,400 gold. With all the kills they take in that fight, plus the turrets that are standing gold T1 are going to pick up on the map, this is probably a push to end here with the momentum they have. Hazmed still no Slicing Maelstrom, a tool they so desperately need to stave off this push.
And it's only the 2 of them. I mean, so much for all those kills into the Tristana. Shogun really, he's in a little bit of a trough. His team has been picked off so many times that he has not really had a front-to-back team fight for him to do any amount of carrying in this one, unfortunately. As T1, they're not going to quite end the game. They probably could have tried to force it, but, you know, first game, it's a best of 1. They just want to get the easy win. They do have the Infernal Drake here.
And Saigon Buffalo also kited back really well, respected them there, didn't actually overextend. If they get a kill there, they 100% push to win with the damage they have. The inhibitor is down, as mentioned. Drake is up. T1 can kite back and take that too. They have full vision of it. So they're just kind of, they have control of every single piece of this map right now. As Taki's once again going to get caught by a tidal wave.
Yeah, and the slow on it is incredible, right? He does have everything, but he's not going to use anything because he knows he's just dead. As that will be a very scared Silas running to the safety of his DJ,
What's left of
suppose.
What's left of this turret? Shogun!
Yeah, he's just going to go in, you know, let's see what he can do. Maybe a little bit of damage, but that's about it. Actually, got him below 50% health. Nice little try, but just a bit out of position. And this game has gone off the rails, and I think T1 is looking to try to close it out here in just a moment.
And now we're starting to see this game go according to expectations. The early game certainly didn't look that way. Saigon Buffalo came out very flashy. Great plays from Taki in the 2v2. Very surprising start. But T1's experience, their macro, it all shows up here. Their map awareness and vision control.
Yeah, they're just going to push in for this one. We do have the stolen by ultimate. They desperately want to take out Gumayusi, and they will do that, but everybody else survives with a very low amount of health. And actually, they do get the kill there onto Zeus. As Faker, he's like, come on, guys, let's get this one done. You know, like I want to get some lunch before the rest of the day goes on. But
they actually will have to let this go. The top turret will fall here, but they won't be able to, of course, grab an inhibitor. Faker is looking for a turn if Hazmed decides to come in here. Did, of course, already use a Slicing Maelstrom. Turret will actually just barely survive. Bulliku's on the case of the Drake. This Infernal Drake has been up for so long. T1 have just been more interested in killing the Nexus. And now they're like, all right, well, I guess on our second attempt to do so, didn't go. We'll go ahead and grab this Infernal Drake solo. There's no vision on the map really here for Saigon Buffalo whatsoever. There's that one control ward just top of the mid lane. And we really have to track those wards or any deep wards that Saigon Buffalo could put down, because a flanking cannon is, I think, the only way that Saigon Buffalo could even hope to win one of many team fights they will need to win to come back in this game. I know I have a famous phrase I say in the LCK when games are finished, so to say, but I'm not going to say it here just yet. I suppose anything is possible, but we are looking at an 11,000 gold lead, supreme map control, so much vision. The only thing left to do is to walk down the red carpet here for T1.
Speaking of which, Faker's going down his own one. He does have vision here of BJ. Nearly takes him out himself. Nice little combo. You see, he has picked up the Magi Soul Stealer. Did have a bunch of stacks on his Dark Seal from earlier on in the game. And so, you know, just looking to stack that one up. And is having a very fun time of that. T1 without the Baron. They do have the range advantage and a pretty nice siege, but here comes the flank once again. They're trying to get onto Gumayusi, and he's going to go down. Okay, they do get the kill.
Is going to kill a Nexus, so they don't care.
That's going to be the end of that turret and that Nexus as well. Zay's just going to do it all alone. Owner comes in for the picture finish, and that will be game number 1 of MSI 2022 going into the hands of T1 very smoothly.
Very smoothly towards the mid to late game. The early game, there were certainly some question marks. The dominance we expect to see from T1 in the 2v2. Gumayusi area, arguably best bottom duo in the world right now, did fall a little bit far behind there, but they were still able to control that 2v2 lane despite the 3 kills on the Tristana and every objective fight with their way. Team fighting was better, vision control. And Taki, great start, but some of those catches on the Alistair really hurt the mid-game that Saigon Buffalo could have tried to snowball.
Yeah, it's very true. I think that Saigon Buffalo definitely a nice first showing here at MSI. I think that's, this is T1, right? You give them an inch, they're going to take a mile, and they did do a bit of that where, you know, I think the second that I saw Owner take the Rift Herald, even though it was kind of even down on the bottom side, I was like, ooh. I know what comes next. We've seen this movie many times before, Wolf, and yeah, pretty clean from the side of T1. Maybe a little bit of having fun there in the mid lane and the bottom side. Baker gives us a nice little thumbs up. And
I think I wouldn't read too much into the Wukong failing to find value in this game. I think it certainly can be a very strong champion. I think we will see it a lot this tournament. So don't set expectations on the Wukong based on this